Hi, History on Film. I know that was a little disconcerting. I just really felt like doing something different. Besides, after recording several hours worth of lectures, I'm a little punch drunk. What can I say? Now, this is just sort of a short introduction for the next few films that you're going to be watching. So, again, prior to each film, just put this disc back in and switch them around and so forth. I apologize for the constant disc putting in and out from Miss Burek. Sorry, but on the other hand, I also didn't particularly understand how I could put this onto a disc without pirating a movie and burning a whole bunch of DVDs. Long story short, I'm lazy. In any case, don't forget your exam, due on Wednesday. You'll want to turn that in because I will need to grade that at some point. So please don't forget to turn it in. Montilus, I'm looking in your direction. Also, you'll want to turn in all of those journals and things because you have a journal coming at the end of this week and a journal coming at the end of next week. You will also probably have a reading assignment that I will leave behind for at least this movie, possibly one of the other movies as well. Now then, this first film you're watching is called Ragtime. Ragtime, directed by Milos Forman. I want to say it's 1981, 1982, one of the two. Very early 80s film. The film itself is jumping ahead a little bit in time. You're still around the same time period of Far and Away. A little bit later, late 1800s, early 1900s. It's because there aren't a lot of great films about the Gilded Age, because the Gilded Age is not particularly exciting. There is one, it's called The Age of Innocence, but I think you've seen enough Daniel Day-Lewis films for 1 year. In any case, Ragtime, it's all about a family's experiences during this period of time. As we said with Far and Away, this period of time is known for a huge amount of change in society, both for immigrants and for white people and for African Americans. And this movie attempts to take all of these different views and smash them together into one big story. As a result, it can be a little bit on the confusing side. There's essentially 3 plot threads running in and out of each other, all of which involve one family. Now, the interesting thing about this is based off of a book by E.L. Doctorow called, Ragtime. It's a very, very good book if you ever get the chance. I once thought about assigning it for a history class. Unfortunately, it has a couple of scenes in the book that you can't easily put into a class. We'll just leave it at that. On that note, this movie is rated PG, but has some weird moments of random things that you can't get away with PG anymore. We'll just put it that way and let you all enjoy the surprises. Again, as I was saying, it's based off of a novel, and the novel is very confusing as well, because it's tons of characters, historical figures, fictional characters, all running in and out of each other. And so the movie does its best to boil that down to a 2-hour movie, but as a result, you do need to pay attention on this one, because otherwise you can get lost really quickly. Not the least of which is the fact that the book is told from the perspective, essentially, of a little boy. And so all of the characters the non-historical characters, I should say, are named in regards to him. So there's mother, father, mother's younger brother, grandfather, the little boy, things like that. And so watch the movie carefully and you'll notice that the main characters don't ever call each other by name because they don't have names. It's kind of a neat little trick. They always have to use euphemisms or things like that, which is fun. Other things to notice about this movie. In terms of just like for your own personal edification, this movie is filled with lots of actors before they were famous. Jeff Daniels plays a cop. John Ratzenberger, who you'll recognize his voice from literally every single Pixar film ever made. Ham from Toy Story is probably the big one. He plays a cop in it as well. Samuel L. Jackson, in his first film role, plays a thug. Fran Drescher, the nanny, plays the ex-wife of Tata. Mandy Patinkin, who you might recognize from The Princess Bride, Criminal Minds, Homeland, is in here. Mary Steenburgen, who has been in way too many things lately. If you watched, I'm thinking the last year what she's been in, that you might have seen. Justified, I think she was in. Orange is the New Black. Again, you'll probably recognize her. She's one of the main characters. So lots of actors who, before they were famous, were doing this movie. And a couple other actors that never went anywhere after this, but not my point. In terms of history and so forth, again, try to determine which characters are historical and which ones aren't. I'll give you a clue. The Coalhouse Walker, no matter how much they flesh him out, is not based on a real person, but he's still very interesting. Do your best to try to follow the plot. I think you'll enjoy this one. It's always one of my favorite films. That's the other thing I forgot to mention. Speaking of famous actors and so forth, towards the end of the film, the police commissioner is played by, now I'm not going to be able to think of his name. James Cagney. James Cagney is the actor who plays the police commissioner at the end of the movie. This is his last film role. He did it basically as a favor to the director. But the problem is that Cagney was in very poor health at this point in his life. And so if you watch these scenes carefully, watch the fact that he doesn't appear in the same scenes with most of the other actors. Instead, he's basically doing his scenes to the camera, and then the other actors are responding to the camera or to a stunt double or something like that, because he had very difficult time remembering his lines, walking, or anything else. So he basically just sat in a chair with cue cards off camera, reading everything as best he can. For most of the shots where he has to be seen standing up, they're shot at a long enough distance that you can't see if he's being helped or even if it's the same actor. It's just a neat little filming trick. Otherwise, enjoy Ragtime. I think you will.